Tēnā koe, kia ora no. Welcome back to North Harbour Stadium as we continue finals day of the Pasifika Youth Cup. And it's great to have you along. This is the championship final. It's Niue up against the Tongan development squad. Ko Dale husband tēnei beside me, Lauli Monty Beetham, and on the sideline, the convener of the tournament and also the chair of New Zealand Māori Rugby League, John Devonshire. He'll be joining us through the day. Trophies on offer, and we've seen an intensity already that is a hallmark of finals football. Of course, as mentioned, COVID protocols are well and truly being observed here, and as such, some keen fans and family members have decided to camp outside the stadium, and it's a nice little touch too. A beautiful day here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, and really great to have this finals day. It's been a wonderful showcase of rangatahi or youth sport, and we get the opportunity once again to see Niue as they make their way out onto the field. Guy Versace Waida, who has been playing really strong. Shane Sua-Bacon, the prop forward. Zacharias Stevenson shining. Nohetutu Davis had a good day yesterday. And Ben Penn has perhaps been the pick of the bunch. Good to see Malakai Tony in the mix as well. Of course, his dad Motu, one of the stars of Niue Rugby League. A lot of these guys have many different whakapapa connections and lines into various Pasifika nations, but Niue have fielded some wonderful talent over the years. They had their first test match as a nation, a proud nation, one of the smallest in the Pacific, and of course the names like Isaac Liu and Dylan Brown, Tuafafoa Sipley, Motu Tony, Joseph Paulo, Glenn Fisiahi, Billy Wepu all have connections into the Niuean country, and they proudly make their way out onto the field here in the final. They're up against the Tongan development squad, and really this is a very talented outfit. We have saluted, have we not, Monty, the Tongan effort and the background work that has been at play in order to field two strong teams here in the Pasifika Youth Cup for 2022.
Well, we've seen how Mate Matonga and what they've done over the course of the last sort of 5 years of World Cups, and they're a real force in International Rugby League, and that's why you're bringing such youngsters through, like both Tongan sides. We've got the development side first here, and then the Tongan side that is going to be there in the final. I tell you what, there is a wealth of talent, and the fact that they're bringing them through is unbelievable.
Well, their impact on the International Rugby League stage is worth noting. Of course, who can forget the towering effort to knock over Australia at Eden Park, and the week before, likewise, with the Great Britain squad out there in Hamilton. So they are a nation that have been blessed with great physicality and talent, but also the hallmark of the nation too, their faith. And we are mindful of the difficulties that the proud Pasifika Kingdom has been through in the last little while. That will be noted as well with a minute's silence preceding the final game of our three-game finals here at North Harbour Stadium. Thank you for your company, and I hope you've been enjoying the action, seeing some of this young talent come together as the two proud nations salute each other on the 10-yard line, and then we'll back up and see once again the magic of this cultural dimension to Pasifika sport. And we await the Sipatau and all the very best to these two young squads. Some terrific talent in there. The Tongan team coached by Panel Kaumawai, who is from the Manarewa Marlins, and also as assistant coach Ricky Peita, likewise supporting the Marlins in their effort also. This is Sky Sports coverage of Pasifika Youth Cup 2022. We go into the huddle with the young Tongan team. Isn't that a great part of this youth sport? And I know it's transferred into adult teams also, but it's a wonderful show of national pride. And the Tongan community really do need to be applauded for the way that they encourage their young men and women to show this distinctive love of their people, of their culture, of their history. And of course the Tongan community with such proud names to reflect back on from rugby league. We're going to Niue. I've been around a long time, never failed to get moved by this display, and especially because it comes from our young men, and they'll carry this attitude with them through the course of their lives. And I just think it's a wonderful acknowledgement of the cultural dimension that sport, or that can accompany sport. And big ups to all of the teams. There is in fact a trophy to be awarded for the best haka. We've seen some amazing ones already in the 2 days preceding finals day, but a lovely touch, and I'm pleased that the organisers afford both teams the time to perform this rather than being so time locked that they limit it to 1 minute or the like. It's a great way to set the stage.
Just thinking the same thing, Dal. It's nice to let them express themselves in the way what they're doing on the field and the way they play, but also the culture that they love and believe in. You've seen so much emotion, not only when they're challenging the opposition from afar, but also just themselves in the build-up to it. The tears, the breathing that is obviously doubled up because they're excited, because they're pumped up. It's amazing. It's nice now that they also take the time just to settle down, go back to their positions, and they think about what they need to do as a rugby league player now.
And a couple of these Tongan players already picked up by the Warriors development system. One of the best will be the back rower for Tonga Development, Silumiela Halasima. He is a fine player, and I'm sure that he'll perform strongly here in the final. There's a lot at stake, cultural pride for sure. It's Niue against the Tonga Development squad. You're watching Sky Sport, and this is finals day at the Pasifika Youth Cup from North Harbour Stadium, and it's Tonga first receipt of the football. Expect some torrid exchanges, particularly through the engine rooms, as both packs try to exert influence and domination over the other. Important, too, to be very careful in the way that you approach the game. Make sure that you cross your T's, dot the I's. It's a steady start to the game, and that's a barraging run, a huge carry already inside the 30-metre line, and they've got numbers down the right edge, Tonga. There's a little kick, delicately placed, and it's a good chase in the end, a fine recovery at the back for Niue, but then they've lost the ball, but tackle deemed high. So Niue will have a chance to get hold of the football and kick to touch. Hugo Rasmussen is in control of the action here for game number 2 of the finals. If you've just joined us in our first final of the day, it was an entertaining game, but in the end the Cook Islands too strong for Fiji, running out eventual winners by 58 points to 10. And while the scoreline might suggest that it was lopsided, there's still plenty of spirited and encouraging play that came through from the young Fijian squad, who will improve when they get a chance for another outing. Well, with me, Monty Beetham and sideline is John Devonshire. Monty, we've seen that Niue are a team with plenty of talent, and it's a matter of putting it together here today on the final.
Well, intentions are clear from this Tongan side. They went 100 metres and straight up the middle. Very physical, very ferocious and very direct, and I think that's going to be the key for them going forward. For this Niue side, it's got to be what they throw back at them in terms of a returning serve. You saw Ben Penny come up there through the middle. When you're looking at both yardsticks for each side, someone like him is going to be big in setting the scene.
Well, leaving it behind here, picking up Jeremiah Cullen, who's been one of the most impressive for the Niueans in the lead-up work, just in front of John Devonshire, who's joining us through finals footy today. John's, of course, the convener of the overall tournament and the chair of New Zealand Māori Rugby League. John, what are you looking forward to in this, the second of our three finals?
Well, sort of the first 2 days sort of pale in comparison when it's a final, when it's 100%, you leave it all out there. It's the last game of the tournament that you're going to play, so you empty the tank. And two very proud nations, and I agree with the pre-game cultural exchanges. They always get me, and you know, I just wish both teams well. Yeah, they work hard, and you know, it's going to be like Monty said and identified. It was an explosive opening, and they were in the arm wrestle stage, but looking forward to a very, very entertaining game again.
Thanks, John. And a tight start so far. In the earlier game, tries scored very quickly by the Cook Islands team, and sort of got out of reach very early with tries coming back to back. But at this stage, these two teams are really feeling out process. Bit of an arm wrestle to start us off. Nice little run here from Halasima. Turns and backs up. Zakaria Stevenson in 10 is the main defender on that play. We're on the halfway line, and Tonga Development have opportunities left and right. They decide to go to Norman Tupulotu. He puts it into the end goal, very deep in goals here, and the restart will come back to the 20. Just a little heavier than he would have liked.
Yeah, only just a little bit fraction long. I'll tell you what, both teams have proved that in yardage they can go 100 metres. Both teams got good forwards that can go through the middle of the park and go well. Both teams look intent on going direct through the middle third as well. So that's exciting because that means the collisions are going to be huge. Third day, you can tell already the intensity from last night to today has really picked up. So let's see who can get the first blood for the team, so to speak.
Well, they would have spoken last night about the opportunity to be in a final on Sky Sport and the fact that they can showcase their talents, get them onto a reel, hope that scouts will note their abilities, and so opportunities could ensue. As mentioned, we've already given examples of players of Niue descent who have gone on into big NRL careers and beyond. So who might turn up out of these teams to do just the same? He's been really consistent, Shane Bacon. His brother's in the squad, but not in the finals lineup. Of course, each team had 22 players available to them, 17 on field, of course, and unlimited interchange through the tournament. At the back it comes, it's picked up by Sosaya Latu. And some good chasing there by the Niuean defenders, who put Latu away just a few metres out from his own line. He's a bit dusty too, getting up from that play. Hanging his head, pretty concerned for the young guy from teammates, but will be given a little bit of breathing space, no doubt, to come good. Angled run, again, the impressive Halasima, willing to do the hard graft through the middle, coming up towards 5 minutes gone, and it really is tough stuff out there as both teams sort each other out. Well, there's the first of an ambitious offload, and perhaps unnecessary at the time. Just trying to create something out wide. As we see Niue once again on the shape, this time through Spinks Koiva. He's to ground 18 metres out from the line. Onesiale decides, well, I'll get us into better field position. The tackle is made there by Siulua, the captain of the Tonga development team. Again, it comes to Koiva. Works it through. Va'akolo Fafita. Out wide they come. They've got runners and numbers. This is Cullen to the corner. Niue will come in first. Swing it around and into scorers. Augustino Filippo. That's a smart try from Niue to get them underway.
Smart try, beautiful try. I tell you what, it went through a number of sets of hands, but already you've seen number 6 and number 7 for this, Cullen, and also Versace Waida, who have been amongst it all. very good, quick exponents of the foot speed. Tell you what, they got the big boys involved as well, as we see the crowd cheering from the outsiders on the big screen. It all happened from the mistake down this end. It's risk versus reward. They get the chance. You saw just holding up the pass was Ben Bennett to get around. But that's a good one in terms of scoring first, setting the tone. This conversion could be pressure on, JD.
Yeah, no, exactly. And came for turnover, expensive turnover there from Tonga, and it'll be the Niueans that'll play from in front.
Well, look, it's Dino also from the Māngere East Hawks. The Warriors have had their eye on him too. He's in their development system, and he's doing his schooling at De La Salle College. A nice spread of where these guys are from, most of them from Auckland. St Paul's, Kelston, De La Salle, Papakura, Waitaka, they're all mentioned there as the kura that these guys attend. And a good start here for Niue. Expect some intensity here and a decent conversion too, I might add, from wide out. But I love the ball from Cullen, the cut-out pass to effect that try. And there's still a bit of work to be done from the flying winger. But he was able to come around and improve the situation too, as we get another look at it. Good hands. And here we see the 7. Good pass as well from the back rower. And then finishing off really a textbook try and full of class.
Yeah, summed up nicely.
Stuart Bacon will take this himself. And on the wind-up, good technique displayed too for the tackle on the 20-metre line. So Niue will want to just maintain the purpose and direction here as it comes out to Zakaria Stevenson. He's taken by Lavamanu. And then back through the middle. Not back far enough, and so another opportunity for Niue to get some easy metres.
Those are the courage runs back in behind the block hold, behind the markers. Those are the ones that can put yourself in that situation for being sandwiched. Courage is what you need, especially early on in these big games, and he's got plenty of it, that Ben Penny.
Well, Versace Waidahu with the kick, of course, as we've mentioned, has had some experience with the Northern Swords lineup in the National Youth Competition, and hails from the Takihiwai Club in the south of Whangarei Boys High School. He's been travelling down to training, so big ups to his connections. It's the Versace Waidahu clan. Out wide we come now to Foromu Kamutoa. He has the ball 5 metres inside enemy territory, and Onesesiale looks to Bacon, Suar Bacon. Good run from Big Shane. Gee, he's been good through the tournament. Go Shane, and he just keeps rumbling along. What a stage to set, and now the players can contribute here in the theatre that is rugby league. Through the hands again, looking very, very challenging. Back against the grain on the run this time to set the stage again. 8 metres out from the try line. Out of the left-hand side we come. And this time it is Onesesiale, but he's repelled with some good defence from Tonga. They must be on guard though. Look out for this guy, he's having a dig. This is Zakaria Stevenson, but he is held up right on the line as they back it up here. But the intent was absolutely on show. And what about Shane Suar Bacon? He's been one of the best all weekend.
Oh, he's been very good. You know, you don't see him just traditionally through the middle of the field. He'll pop up anywhere on the edges. Saw him scoring a try. It was a try assist to his brother just last night. That's the thing you see about these boys. They feel comfortable running in different channels.
Well, the Hawks have bred a lot of young talent over the years. No doubt about that there in Māngere East, just around the corner from where he goes to school. But he's a very potent force here for Niue. The skipper carts forward. Sulua is on the 40-metre line now for Tonga. As mentioned earlier, but for those of you perhaps just picking up on finals day, they've got a very sophisticated system to bring through players of talent. And a whole lot of proud gatherings as Tonga from all corners of Tamaki Makaurau meet regularly in age group play. Learn the cultural dimensions to Tongan representation. This time around we have Lovamanu, and he's well set here. 16 metres out from the try line and to the left, looking for the grubber and regather. Has that been successful? No, it's Niue who will come up with the ball. And a bit of a jersey grab towards the try line, but that's not on. The tackle's been affected, and that'll be enough, says referee Rasmussen.
Tuipoloto had numbers on his left. He could have shaped a kick and passed it out, but never mind. Execution wasn't quite there. Niue with the chance to come out of their own end now with a kick.
Kia ora to all of the connections to these young athletes. I know you desperately have liked to be here to support them physically with your presence, but I'm sure that under the circumstances they too recognise that that support is there but from afar. Niue with the football, centre field and 30. There's a great defensive effort. Front on, had work to do. Deployed the tackle technique. Good effect. The back rower. Lasima. There's a little bit of a lull in play, but some intensity maintained through the middle. And another penalty, which is helping the Niue cause a great deal. Earlier in the game, John, we were saying that it was probably 30 degrees out on the track. The sun's moved around a little bit now, but even so, it will be draining, continues to be. What would you say of the rise of Niue Rugby League since they had their first test in '86?
Oh, it's outstanding, and at the end of the game, we're going to talk to one of the main instigators behind the upsurge in Niue and Rugby League, but I'm quite impressed with both sides. They're playing a very good level or calibre of football. Just the back-to-back penalties and the indiscipline of the Tongans, it's just costing them as Niue a piggybacking up the field.
So it might look like a conservative approach, but really you need to earn the right through the middle to be flamboyant and to show some of that Pasifika flair, which is the hallmark of tournaments like this. This is a wonderful carry with 3 defenders forced to climb aboard. Ben Penny has been one of the best throughout the tournament. This is Versace Waida, who again uses Cullen out to Felipe Taliso. He has a little look and was tempted to get it back to Cullen, but instead opts to go to ground. Just 3 or 4 metres out from the try line. Versace Waida, who, and Stevenson is abruptly halted in his attempted run. Good work from Marlon Tuipulotu. This is the last tackle. What will Niue throw at the Tongan development squad here in the last? Well, that's the answer. It's a left foot crossfield kick that has been secured in the best possible way. And a wonderful effort once again out wide. And gee, has he been good, one of the best. It's quite appropriately goes into the hands of Shane Bacon. Niue in for try number 2.
Well, what can he do? I think he'll be very happy if you put him out on the edge too. He loves roaming out wide, but I think what Niue has been doing really well is because throughout this tournament, the Tongan teams, both teams' development and their top side, have been very physical in the middle of the park, and they've been tallying up a lot of the teams. What Niue is doing is having a little bit of variation in around the ruck and a bit of late footwork, which is stopping the impetus or stopping the collisions of this Tongan team, which is helping them, progress further up the field easier. It's a great game. It's a nice change in strategy, and it's been working for this Niue side at the moment.
Well, they've been impressive throughout the tournament, and here they are playing off in the championship final. Sua Bacon, what we saw with that great meter grabber, that he is a player of considerable ability this time around. Well, he wouldn't be able to place in an Aussie rules team, was he? The way he climbed and retrieved that football, but he's also there to do the hard graft and the bulldoze work. He's the biggest bloke on the field, and certainly he's got a few strings to his bow. Shane Sua Bacon, one to watch out for here in the final. I remind you too that we'll be wrapping up our coverage in the last game of what's been a very entertaining 3 days of rugby league. That's the Premiership final coming up at 3 o'clock, and it will be New Zealand Māori up against Tonga. And great that Tonga have been able to field 2 teams here to make for a 6-team draw. Let's see if you can replicate the kick from last time, and that's not possible for Felipe Taliso. It is 10 points to 0. And let's have another look at the deft accuracy of the kick and the wonderful take from Sua Bacon. It was all over his opposing players in trying to retrieve that football. Once another powerhouse run from him coming up as well. He's right down on the back fence, as they say. I'm pretty sure that they'll be kicking the ball somewhat in his direction. Let's see what he's able to do with it. In fact, this time they opt to go more to the left than right. That's nicely fielded. And the forward play, this time from Niue Fusitoa. And that's just a little mistake and will give Tonga good field position to mount a challenge.
Yeah, it's a bit of a coach colour, especially in this heat. There'll be the rest of his forward pack giving him a bit of a, hey, come on, man, hold that ball, especially early on. Unforced errors in this heat makes it really tough. Yeah, it's a bit of a loose carry. There was one of the Tongan players within the ruck, but he was trying to get out of there himself. So onus on the ball carrier, needs to be better. Let's see if Tonga can get back on the board.
Well, it will give them some confidence if they're able to weave a little bit of that Tongan magic and get across the line. Down 2 tries here, but Niue really have been in charge of the contest thus far. Kala Mosati gets them into a good spot. Tempted to pop the pass too late there. Wisely decided not to. Marlon Tupulotu now looks for some runners. This is attitude on show. This is great attitude and great skill. We've been singing his praises already, and now you can see why. Selimuela Halasima with a powerhouse effort, and he's in under the crossbar.
That was a beautiful line. We spoke about that line and how hard it is to combat it defensively. It is a courage line because you know you're going running in between a number of defenders. He took it at pace. He actually went through 4 players as Penny tried to come across and stop him. It's a wonderful try, and it was much needed from his side. The footwork, the strength, and to even when he's evading players to keep that speed, that's exceptional. It's a kid of the future.
Across to you, JD.
Yeah, I just think it's, I was really enjoying the shape of Niue and how they were playing and getting to a kick and some execution. And then from the kickoff, like Monty said, you got a responsibility to hold the ball, and turning the ball over, 20 out from your own line on the 3rd tackle is not the way to go. And but having said that, credit to the Tonga Deval side that have made them pay and use the ball, and just before half time, it's given them a little bit of confidence and hope at 10-6. So it's still very much an even tussle.
Well, what we do know too is the Tonga community recognise the influence that professional success can have on rangatahi coming forward. And many of those who we acknowledge now are also guys who've gone through academic pathways. A lot of these guys actually are playing first 15 rugby as well as rugby league. And so I think from a Tonga community's perspective, it's the opportunity to create career paths, whether it's in the 13 or 15 man code, as we see a good charge with attitude on the return of the football. So some guys have already been picked up by notable colleges for their first 15 play. Look at this run here. Out of nowhere comes Tavita Nofahu, the vice captain. Some work for him here, but can he get to the try line? Momentum carries him across, and Rasmussen says, "You'll do me, young fella," and the try is scored. The vice captain with a run of 60 metres, and that shows some class, some pace, and some intent well and truly on show. And Tonga go back to back. We're locked up at 10 with a kick to come.
Well, you know that when you've got Sam Kato calling for the ball through the middle of the field and he wants that ball for his first carry, that you better do something good, otherwise he's not going to be happy with you. What did he do? He came down a short side that was huge in terms of numbers that were waiting for him defensive-wise, but must have had spiders on him or something because no one wanted to touch the man. Very good, very slick, very slight in build, but it's just his evasion, his speed, and the ability to get away. The cover defence coming across was commendable by Cullen. He showed his speed and his will to get back. It still wasn't quite enough.
Tavita, the fullback there for his try scorer, he's been one of the stars for the Tongan Deval team this weekend. And, I just do want to give a shout out to the Tongan community, like you mentioned, Dale. We did lose a couple of nations, Tokelau and Samoa for their reasons, and we do miss them. And I want to give them a shout out to our Pac brothers and sisters from those 2 nations, because we would have loved to have them part of us, but for reasons known to them. And Hingi Fusitua and the Tongan Rugby League, they stepped up and put an entered another team for us, so we're very grateful for them. But it's about opportunity, and like you said, Christian Wolf will be very happy with the development coming through, and they've sorted themselves out back at home and getting on and doing what they do well, and that's playing football.
Yeah, thanks, JD. And look, I can understand countries because COVID has forced us to be so protective of our people, and that would have been the first consideration. At one stage, John, I was expecting to get a call to say, hey, listen, the tournament can't go ahead. When we went into the red traffic light situation, I pretty much accepted that the tournament couldn't be staged. So they had to make the decision earlier than that, and did. And therefore, you sort of understand why they were not able to participate this time around. They might be disappointed now when they see how it's panned out, that they didn't field squads here. But like you say, let's take our hat off to the Tongan team. Even as the chair of New Zealand Māori, I guess you too had some considerations about whether it was right to field a team under the circumstances, John.
No, we did. You're exactly right, Dale. And however, we planned for a no crowds, and the 100 people limit saved us, because if it had been less than 100... Hang
on. Here's a try. Here's a try. Sorry, mate. It's try
no
time
worries.
For Felipe Taliso. Well, it sort of came out of nowhere, but hey, the kid's got speed to burn, and he utilised it really well that time around. So conceding two and then bouncing back, just as their coach would have hoped.
Speed to burn, but also smarts and game knowledge. He knew when Ben Benny was going to the line, and he knew that he got a good ball carry and where to be in terms of getting the pass. All good wingers, fullbacks where they can, they stay up. Look, Ben Penny came across the ruck a little bit. He pops that right hand pass that he has, a right hand carry inside. The right centre actually doubled around to follow him on the inside as well. He came a long way off his flank to be in there, but he knew that it was going to be worth as well. Nice try.
Keep it alive. Sorry, John.
Yeah. Just with young Ben, he's like a lot of these players. They're dual nationality, Polynesian Māori mother, and he comes to our Māori tournaments and qualifies on his mother's side, and he makes tournament teams, and he's made that option to help out Niue and play for on his Niuean side, and we love that. It's great to be able to have an option and a choice, and as you know, Dale, smaller nations and stuff like that, and spreading the love of rugby league and the whakapapa. Exactly what Dane Gagai and Dylan Walker did, Indigenous on one side of their family and Māori on the other, and young Ben, he is an exceptional talent.
Well, there's data suggesting that half of all marriages to Tongan people in New Zealand are to Māori. So the mix...
I don't know, is that the first one, Dale, or their second marriage?
Fair enough. I have...
Sorry, Whānau.
I'm proud to have Tongan or Māori Tongan mokopuna as well. So that's an example. Hey, but in a tournament like this, and part of what we're trying to remind each other of is that we are all as one, as Pasifika peoples.
Exactly.
Linguistically, genetically, and we have these very strong connections, and they're all celebrated in tourney like these. But I've been enjoying the attitude that Niue have on show here this afternoon as Folomu Kamutoa is put away on the 20-metre line. And Niue go again, up 16-10. 3 tries to 2, down into the last 5 minutes of the first half of this final number 2. Rofemula Talulatu has the ball and now set both sides. Opportunities here for Tupulotu. Which way will he opt to go? It's down the right-hand side, and he picks up on the run Sam Kata. But Sam can't hold the ball. Niue come up with it. If there's one criticism of Sam's play, there's plenty of good things about it, but every now and then he gets the ball jarred loose, and now a penalty for Niue, which will allow them to get some easy meters downfield.
Yeah, just on Sam, he has to look after his hands, because I tell you what, he can do a lot of great things for a side. We saw just last night what he does when he gets going and how much it influences his side, and they get right behind him. Try and do the same thing again, but you can't do anything without the ball. As Niue get the chance back, it was just bizarre to see Wahakolo Fafita chip on the first or second tackle to lose possession coming out of his own 20. Here's Big Sam. loose carry. Sausage grip, Daniel Anderson from the Warriors to score that. You've got to have your 4 fingers and your thumb gripped in around the ball.
Is it true that Daniel Anderson banned hair product from the shed?
That's probably right, and you need to have a bit of hair. Well, Clinton Torpe and Trontain Hape, they love to do their hair before games.
Did they? What?
Yeah, especially Clinton Torpe.
Especially Clinton. Where is he now?
I believe he's over on the Gold Coast. He's doing some wonderful things for the NRL as a development welfare officer, and then even more so. But I've been seeing him in his line of work and what he's been doing over there for the NRL.
I thought he might have found a career in a hair products company, that bloke. But certainly had a unique look. We've already been celebrating Clinton Torpe because it was here back in the early 2000s where there was a memorable Kiwi win over the Aussies. And fair to say we get them every now and then, but certainly not as consistently as we'd like. Clinton scored 3 tries that day.
Another New Zealand Māori player, 2000 World Cup, before he went on to play for the Kiwis.
Now, who knows who might kick on from here. We've been enjoying some of these guys as Valentino Taito comes in. Let's stay with the play now. It's 16-10 and a little mistake. And Marlon Tupulotu will be somewhat disappointed there as the scrum feed goes the way of Niue, one of the players obviously with an ankle injury and some time off to take him across field, I suggest. I'd like to acknowledge the runners, the supporters, those behind the scenes who've backed this tournament. Sky Sport, Pasifika Aotearoa Collective, Active, they've all been involved in putting it all together. What's something coming forward in 2022 as far as Pasifika or even Māori Rugby League's concerned? JD, what sorts of plans are in train?
Yeah, we've got calendars sorted, and hey, I just want to also acknowledge the NZRL, Greg Peters and Motu Tony, who you mentioned, and Big Dave McMeekin. We're trying to align calendars also with the ARL, because generally you find, guys, it's the same player. A lot of these players, you know, they're at a club, they're at a district, they want to go to the Māori tournament, and now we have this Pasifika stage. So it's about aligning calendars because we don't want to overburden them or overwork them, and so we got some tournaments planned later in the year, around October, Dale, and then there's the zone district tournaments and stuff like that. So there's huge opportunities. There's a few more than when Monty was running around the fields at Hopopu, but we go back a while there, Monty. But it's just wonderful to have these opportunities because we all can't go and work and be commentators on Sky TV.
Well, that's always been a bit of a privilege as well. Sometimes they shake my head and say, hey, how do I end up here? I've been lucky enough for many years now to work with some of the best in the business, yourself included, Monster, but it's always been a privilege to be part of the game in a different capacity. Of course, our whānau, like many too, entrenched in the game of rugby league and just grew up loving it. I'm not being dismissive of the other code, but you know, if you grow up in a family where league's the go, then it stays the go. And yeah, we're all hard out leagueies around the husband and wife and their whānau. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Dale, we talk about longevity with there in Sky. Talk about JD. You know, I was 16, 17 years of age when we were at a Hopopu tournament, and he was very much the man. So well done, Ehoa, in terms of the services you've given to the game of rugby league, man.
Yeah, fair enough too, and it's a good acknowledgement. Cheers, likewise, I don't talk with that corridor as well. Monty, thanks. Yeah, JD's been around for a long time, but you need someone to do the administration and the hustle, just as you need coaches, managers, players, and supporters. It all comes together in a lovely package like we're witnessing this weekend. So here's Niue, and now they can make a little move. Here's Cullen. Cullen goes outside to Philippa Taliso. Oh, they're all over him here, Tonga. They know the threat that he poses. Look at that defence. Really committed. 16-10, last minute of the first half. Here's the kick into the end goal. That'll be covered up at the back for Tonga. And will they be able to create something as we saw in the last minute of the final that preceded this one? Tonga to play the ball. be wise just to take it easy and make sure they retain possession. The last thing they need is to have the ball jarred loose and for Niue to pounce. Hope you've enjoyed the action here so far. 5 tries in the first half of this, the championship final. Tonga will be okay with the scoreline. It gives them hope coming into the second half. Really, there was no favourite to pick here, as the inside ball creates something of an opportunity and dragging the player down from behind. One quick play of the ball, and they'll get one roll of the dice here before half-time. The back rower, Halasima, has the ball. Will he bother to offload it? No, sensibly, he goes to ground. An entertaining first half of rugby league. And it goes to the break 16-10. Niue winning here in the championship final. You're watching the Pasifika Youth Cup, and it's finals day this Sunday from North Harbour Stadium. Stay with us. We'll show you the tries from the first half as we prepare to build for the second half. You're watching the action on the home of New Zealand Rugby League, Sky Sport. Kia ora no, Mauriola Kakwe, thanks again for your support. Hope you've been enjoying the action. A 16-10 scoreline here at half-time as Niue in front of the Tongan development squad, but it's anyone's game as we go into the second half. Great to have you along, and as you can see, the condition of the track, impeccable. Maybe just cutting up a little bit in the centre field. There it is, the proud rig from Auckland Niue Rugby League. They've had a strong showing here at the tournament, and as you can imagine, when the Tongan community here win, you can actually see some of the game from the fence. They've come out in numbers, and there they are. I'm sure they'll have a lot of those Tongan delicacies that they love to share with us all. And there's the proud flag of Niue flying high, and great to have them here with us as well. Well, if you can't get to the stadium, quite obviously you can't get in. They've got security on the gates. You have to have a little bit of hustle, and that hustle was on show here for the first try. It was a beauty too, and Filippo gets into the corner only just a few minutes into the match, and it was a great start. It was followed up by a guy who had already surged downfield and then showed another set of skills.
Yeah,
the big fella
himself, right? Aussie rules, he wouldn't look out of home there, but the fact that at the turn he kept his eye on the ball, knowing that there were multiple people around him, sort of Bacon, wonderful taking that down and scoring a try.
Well, you were impressed by this run. It came back against the grain and just opened up a little pocket that he was able to utilise Halasima to get the first try for Tongan development. And this try was superb. Look at the way he's bounced out of tackles and then sprinted downfield, aided and abetted by the best mullet in the business, and away he goes. And no fahu momentum got him across the line despite Cullen's best efforts to contain him. And then the last try came through Filippo D'Alessio, and this was a good piece of work from him and his back rower, also Ben Penny, who continues to play strong. So that's what gives us the 16-10 scoreline. Look, I just also want to clarify something. I've got a piece of paper in front of me now that suggests that Guy Versace Waidehu, who's been playing halfback for Niue, in fact, is aligned to the Otangare Knights in Whangarei. The information I got pre-tournament was with Takehiwa. Happy to celebrate the efforts of both proud Whangarei-based clubs. And of course, we know that Adam Blair, for instance, was a 15-year-old, got sighted out of Whangarei and went on to have that massive career. Also, too, we want to acknowledge, and why wouldn't we, Jesse Bromwich's standing in the rugby league community, with Wayne Bennett dragging him north for next year after, 12 seasons in Melbourne. And he and Kenny Bromwich, two young guys who played their footy for the Manarewa Marlins, have gone on to the international stage and have been really stalwarts of the NRL. And that's just another example of the rewards that await if your focus and commitment is first class. So all the best to these young guys, these young Tongan Niuean players. Who knows who we are witnessing in the infancy of their professional rugby league careers.
It's always joy to be on hand to call the action of the local grassroots talent, especially some of these talents that they cross over and play in different codes. And as JD mentioned, you know, they often turn up at all the different tournaments with their Whakapapa lines, and because that's the melting pot that puts them together, that makes them unique in their genetics to be absolute weapons on the field or whatever sport they choose.
Thanks. I'll let Monty Beetham with us today. You've had a wonderful career too, bro, and I want to acknowledge that and your ongoing commitment to the code. I remember bumping Monty. He was a junior guy, one of the earlier blokes to have been signed up by the Warriors. And while we're talking rugby league, how about a kia ora or a malolale to the Mann family. Dwayne, his crew, the old man, George. Beautiful family, and so intertwined with Tongan Rugby League across the years. They've produced some sensational players too, but Niue on the rise, aren't they? As I say, first test match, 86. And now they are a force to be reckoned with. As we see Niue with the ball, they'll desperately want to come good here and get away with the trophy. The trophies will be presented at the back end of our next final, due at 3 o'clock. This is a powerhouse run, beautiful, and the offload is smart, savvy. Spinks Koiva has the ball 18 metres out from the try line. Cullen slides into acting half. That was good work from the marker defence. Put some pressure under Cullen as such. He makes a little mistake as he tries to put the pass together, and it's gone forward, so they'll have a turnover of possession into the hands of Mulitalu Latu, who'll play the ball now 20 metres out from the line for Dawn Development. Nice little effort from the back row, Halasima. Plenty of good skills on show. You've got to be in the moment. That was a bit of a slammer there for the young Tongan as the fullback gets hold of it. So Latu. Defensive work. Folomu, Kabutoa. I like that. Oh, yeah, I was about to say the same thing. That's the sort of stuff you really need. It can be a real boost to momentum. Valentino Taito rolls to his feet and down the right side they come through Norman Tuapolotu. He manages to get the ball away. Here's the danger man, or one of many. Tavita Nofa'u. So Tonga, let's see what their chase is like. Well, they won't need to chase because the take was superb, although Mulitalo Latu is in quickly on Filippo. Just need a couple of settling runs now from Niue. Don't want to be lifting too much. He's been out a bit of a smile too. Good on you, young fella.
Niue's got to go back to some of their shape. You know, they're all bunching in right now, and of course, if you bunch in, the defensive line moves in as well. The shape, the work off the ball gave them great draw early on. So is this man, Ben Penny. Semitareas through the middle of the park on the edge, been causing havoc.
Yeah. He really has. You know, he's got the bulk, but he's also got a turn of speed that belies his size in a way. Can punch through the hole, but also once he's through that, he really puts the pedal down, he can go. You would have seen him play some good footy in the Māori tournaments over the years, JD.
Oh, most definitely, and he hits the ball at pace, and he takes it on the ad line, and he's go forward, and he earned the penalty, so well done.
Shane Saw Bacon adds a bit of starch to the attack and finds himself on the 20-metre line. Here's Niue on the build-up, up by 3 tries to 2. They're weaving their magic and trying to counter the defensive line, and they play the ball here from Anestesiali. But another little mistake. This is where finals are won and lost. You've got to remain tight. Yes, be ambitious, but you've got to be cognizant of the little things that all contribute to an overall team effort. And this time, just a little sloppy in the play of the ball.
Yeah, there's a foot there, but you got to, like you said, got to be sure with those little 1%ers. They all add up in the scheme of things. There's one thing about Pacific Island Brothers is the carefree way in which they approach and the reckless abandonment they play with, but sometimes you got to have attention to detail as well.
Well, with the fine examples now with NRL players who are masters of their craft in their own positional play, that flamboyance that you alluded to in that corridor. Yes, we used to sort of give it air. They used to call it the warrior style of play, very unpredictable. But the more that is demanded of you in a professional sense, the more refined your positional work becomes. And so now, as you quite rightly say, Monty, you've got to be conservative at the right time, eyes up, look at field position, look at the clock, look at the fatigue perhaps with your colleagues. Then you'll be less inclined to give the ball air than you might have been in years past. Well, let's not get rid of that style because that's what we love to see, and we're seeing a little bit more of it here. We are seeing a bit more of it here. The gas pedal is down and the try is scored. Frank Vainuku had a heap of work to do from 40 out, angles the run and puts another beautiful try together for the Tongan development team. Great footy, sort of came out of nowhere, but Frank deserves the accolades that he's receiving now from his teammates.
What about the wheels? I can't wait to have another look at this. And that's what we're seeing across the tournament is the foot speed of these athletes is a beautiful long ball. He just shows outside, comes off his left, comes off it again twice, and then he puts the foot down, realises he's got the ball in his right hand to hold off Cullen if he needs to, but he didn't need that. He had enough pace to get across the line. You said it, JD, great try.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you talked about, boys. It's balancing down between the structured play and the flair. And I get annoyed with coaches that coach the flair out of players. And like Monty said, in the right area of the football field, the right option taking and game management. And that was a prime example of it. running it out of your 20, out of your red zone, going wide, getting a flare, and 40-metre run like that on an angle. That was outstanding.
Nuku has squared them up. The conversion is successful. We're locked at 16 all. A lot of feeling in this one. Both teams wanting to go home on a good note. But Frankie Vainuk, also a young fellow who's a young player out of De La Salle, is showing that he is a player with considerable talent. And that was a lovely example of it. As you can see, another glorious day here in Auckland City with this stadium. Perhaps not as utilised as much as it was intended to be over the years. But then again, I suppose with COVID, well, heaps of stadiums have sat idle for many months. It's good to be here. North Harbour, look at this. Oh yeah, I love that sort of defence. Niue says, okay, well, you might have scored a try, but you haven't sapped us from our Niuean pride. We'll put that on show again, and here he is. Big Shane continues to be the nemesis for the Tongan attack. And the young fella is Dusty getting up. He's by overuse of the term fella. Might as well call them blokes and characters, footy players. Speaking of footy players, here we go. It's Halasima. Let it rip, Halasima. What a run from him. This is certainly allowing something to be built from it. Professional foul almost, you'd have to think as well, because they would have looked up and thought, heck, we're in a bit of trouble here. Rasmussen says holding down, yes. But that was a powerhouse run from the back rower. Here we go. Look at him.
Oh.
Puts his foot down, acceleration. He's got a great array of skills.
Oh, hasn't he? He knows where to be, what lines to run, and obviously just that natural ability that you don't always get, you can't coach.
Building on it too is Taito. He comes into the middle, they lifted there. It's an experience. There's no damage done, but because it is such a play that has been almost eradicated out of the game, that's the lifting. The penalty ensues. Still with the ball. Tonga this time around. Ezekiel Kolo. So well set. He's a dangerous man here, no fahu. And a little blues, so the good work gets done and then quickly undone.
Yeah, I think both teams shooting themselves in the foot at either end of the field. You've just got to remember, you've got 20 minutes left to go, or just over 20 minutes. There's plenty of time in this match. You don't need to win off every play or even every set of six. You just got to build a little bit, get into the right end of the field, and then when you get that back-to-back set, or you get that ball for a prolonged period of time, that's when the defensive line is going to be a little bit more vulnerable. That's when you can change around a little bit more. That's probably one thing that these guys have to realise, 20 minutes is a very long time, but the effort is there. That's great. You just got to dot the I's and cross the T's by just getting out of those little mistakes out of your game.
It's amazing how often it's the fundamental aspects of the game, to play the ball in front of the kicker on the kickoff. These sorts of things come into play. I guess players are so used to wanting to get the advantage, break the advantage line and go forward. They can sometimes just be a little off guard with the basic fundamentals. That's an example there in the play the ball. Niue in possession here, just short of the 30-metre line. This guy's been one of the very best, hasn't he, Cullen? He's been outstanding. Loved seeing him in action. He's been a wonderful contributor, Cullen. Good carry. Dakaria Stevenson, and another penalty to add even more starch to the attack here for Niue.
So this is what I'm talking about. They've got out of their own end. There's a couple of back-to-back set of six. They've put themselves in a position here now to put the icing on the cake, which is score a try. If they don't score a try, obviously they could just put it back in their goal. I love them to speed it up a little bit more, though. The problem with our teams in this Pasifika tournament is they try and slow everything down, even when you've got your ball in hand.
We've got to take advantage. It's a bit like a boxer who gets a good punch in and then sort of pauses to admire his work. You'd know that. And so if the advantage is there, you've got to go in for the kill. I know it's an ugly term, but if you've got the advantage, you really need to capitalise in that moment. So it's Penem Beautiful defensive work from Taito, but still Niue well positioned here. Onesiale calls for it. Now it's out to the back rower. Ben Julio Pene offloads as well. Plenty of skill, plenty of good football on show, and the charge to the line is pulled to an end by Vainuku, but they're still just a metre out. Here's Niue, here's Pene, and Pene is bold, he's tough, he's big, he's powerful, and he's too good this time. Tonga suffer another try. Ben Pene is the man who's causing them problems and has been all day. Gee, he's good. Love watching Ben Pene on the boil.
Oh, look, it's simple. That's the sheer weight of position against you. You know, you're backing up on a hot day after 3 days of playing the great game. You get tired for this period of five minutes or so that you're defending. You haven't seen the ball. There's been no respite for you. So eventually you will find a crack, and that's what they did. It wasn't a very organised play, but in the end, you got a chance for Ben Pene to pick out 1 or 2 smaller players. As he picked on then, he realised as this half came out over the line at him, Tui Poloto, that he was the one he was going to leg drive on, and then the rest was history.
Yeah, 2 big, 2 strong fellas, and our game is littered with momentum shifts, and Tonga have been experiencing a good last 10 minutes. They come back in the game, they squared it up at 16-all, and now it's just a momentum shift right there with Ben Pene and Niue. So, you know, plenty of time to come, and there's going to be plenty of shifts, but you know, you be disciplined, you pick your timing, and you take that opportunity.
Well, this will maintain a 6-point lead. I'm thinking that the conversions are going to be important. Let's hope that he hits this one well, and he does. Doesn't try to do too much with it. The second row, Folomu Kamotoa, and so it's a 22-16 scoreline. Plenty of entertainment here today. If you've just joined us, a reminder that the Cook Islands took out 3rd place earlier in the day with a wonderful win in the 3rd place championship. This is the 3rd place premiership. Congratulations to them. Too strong for Fiji today. They'll be in celebratory mode. And eating Puvi Masima as we speak, I would think.
Well, there'll be some sore boys after this tournament. They've probably been sore the whole way through. Nice little bit of work there from...
It was clever. And
Masima, it was good, eh, right?
It was thoughtful. Really should have come out with it. This guy's got such a turn of pace. He is like a shot in the arm here for the Niuean attack. And that gives them an opportunity to send some of their more sprightly players to torment these big Tongan forwards. And so it's the centres and the wingers coming in. Felipe Taliso gets them well set. Here's another example to Onesiale. Strong up the middle, tempted to back it up too to Ben Pene. Might have been a fortuitous play if he got it to the big man. Instead, they come through Zacharias Stevenson, who's halted in the run by Lavamanu. But now Niue is starting to pose more threat to Tonga, and just coming up short. This time on the dive, it's a turnover, but not very far away from collecting another 4 points.
Oh, geez, there you go. That's, once again, the weight of position. As we see the little kick-off here, he went for it, right? So that's IQ. That's realising there's the chance on hand to try and do something for your team. Momentum shift, as JD has mentioned. But now it's their turn to get out of this end, which is pretty tough too. It's Niue's chance to really put the foot down and strangle them, if you like, by getting off your line, jamming them in and keeping them here. Put pressure on the kicker.
Well, we're into the last quarter hour of final number 2, and it is tight, as you would hope in finals football. Yeah, I salute Halasima and his decision to go for the short kickoff. You don't see it very often, and he very nearly made it a winner. It was only the fact that he couldn't scoop it up. Otherwise, that would have been a real boost to the Tongan chances on attack and to get hold of the football unexpectedly. Tonga development with it now, and centre field just shy of the 30-metre line. Down the left channel, they start to work. There are numbers here and some wheels to burn. Nice little show this time from Lula Seal. Now it's back, and they got that quickly. A scrambled defensive effort and a late kick for Musaati on the far side of the field, but the bounce is important in the end. Turns into Niue, who have it on the far side through Patola Taito. And some pretty decent defence right in front of you, JD.
Mate, that's pretty willing, you know, fifth and final. And we talked about structure, and we talked about flair, and then they wanted to drag him over the sideline, but they didn't. And yeah, very willing game, eh? You don't go anywhere, Whānau, because this game's going to go right down to the wire.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? John Devonshire, New Zealand Rugby League chair, convener, one of the main organisers of this Pasifika Youth Cup. And now it's going well from pillar to post, isn't it, at the moment? And Niue again with an opportunity. And there is a bust and a sprint. Where's the step? Away he goes. Good run from Jericho, Felipe Taliso. Niue want it. They want it quick. They need it delivered up. They've got numbers down the right edge. This time it is with Folamu Kamutoa, but he too goes ever so close. That's the second time in just a few moments that we've seen Niue pulled up a few millimetres short from the chalk.
Oh, so close, so close. I tell you what, now it's you're turning their attack into defence. You really got to keep them here. That's what they did in the last set. Then they got themselves when the ball was given back to them after the kick, and good position to attack. Same thing now as Tonga tries to shift. Oh, they're on the break.
And there they go. Look at the flying Tongans this time through Mosoati. He's trying to weave his magic, but scrambling defence, throwing everything, all their energy, sapping heat, but they're still working hard as Tuipulotu, the hooker, is dragged to ground. The referee says, look, guys, you weren't back enough, and so the penalty will be there. But, gee, there's been some fine play coming in the last 5 or 6 minutes from both teams. And when they do spy a gap, crikey, they fly.
I think that's that Pasifika spirit coming out. Dale, plenty of pride, and the quick play of the balls, and he got caught out there, did the young Niuean player, and now Tonga got a good chance to capitalise here. Let's see what they can do.
They're in good field position. So here's the starting charge. Mulitalo Latu, a wall of 3 Niuean defenders greet him on the 30-metre line. Out of dummy half goes Tuipulotu Marlon this time. Out to No Fahu, who's been very, very good for Tonga, but he's lost the football.
Penalty, hand on the ball.
Niue almost scored themselves twice in the last 5 or 6 minutes, but now they're under the pump. Suula. Angled run for the prop forward. In front of the post, 12 out. Spread deep and wide to the left-hand side, to Pulotu, to the back rower, Halasima. Halasima now gets the ball away.
Yeah, obstruction. Good call. Vega Rasmussen, right on the spot. Gee, it was unlucky too because they had a nice setup, good width. Had some nice shape, and as you can see then, he's been good, Halasima. Been very good. Been amongst it all, the hard stuff on the edges, trying to really contribute for his team. As you can see there, you can't run around anyone. Although no one was impeded.
Just overran there, but once again, it's pays some homage to the scrambling defence from Niue. They're under the pump there and really got themselves back to try and nullify the threat that was quite obviously posed at them. Short side effort, stay away from the sideline, but the referee says, and gets a word from the touchies, that ball's gone forward. I think the Niuean players would argue the toss if they had a chance, but they don't. The decision is made. Scrum feed. Tonga, 5 metres inside enemy territory.
Yeah, just going back to what JD said a little while ago about, you know, you don't want them to lose the X factor and the ability to show your flair, but at the same time, you know, it's risk versus reward, or understanding where you are. Niue's ahead on the scoreboard. They're deep in their own half, and they're throwing some passes that they probably don't need to. If you get down the other end of the field, if you find yourself in a better position, maybe that's the time to throw the dice a little bit more.
4 tries to 3, scoreline 22-16, 10 to play. Jersey Scrag, still effective. Mulitalo Latu, that's the way to defend in a final. Great effort there from Spinks Koiva. Out the right-hand side. Still with some problems, and now down the right edge comes Taito, and that too is called back. Well, ambitious. They need to refine technique. Another little look here.
That was a great call. He's been on in the last sort of 5 minutes. There's been some big calls, decisions he's got to make on the run. The referee Rasmussen has done a fine job, and particularly in the last 5.
Yeah, that was an accurate assessment there. It did drift forward. So say Alatu wanting to set Taito away down the right edge. Now it's Niue get the chance to feed the scrum. It's slowed it back down this time around, but you can forgive them for that. What a tournament it has been for both teams. Really impressed with the attitude on show. And once again, paying tribute to these young men. The spirit that the tournament has been played in. It's been tough, difficult conditions, but they've kept their tempers in check. This guy here, he has to be watched because he poses constant danger and threat. That's young Jeremiah Cullen. Great sportsmanship from Jeremiah on numerous occasions we've seen through the tournament, as well as Felipe Taliso takes it now. He's 42 out from the line, out of dummy half. Malaki right leg heavily strapped for the young guy, and now the inside ball gets them some smart meterage. Cover defence, also useful from Siolua. Dummy half work for Aquafafita. And now the chance to lay a platform from close range. Niue in with a big chance here. Here's the back rower. He's been so potent, he'll chance his hand yet again, and I think he's done it again. Yes, he has. How good's this guy? Ben Julio Pene. From close range, almost unstoppable.
Oh, unstoppable. Beautiful centre field. He had options either side, so he had foils on the left, but he knew the whole time he was going to get the ball. It's probably a hot call, which means that he wants it over everyone else. He got it on his overs line. He just showed a little bit. It was a hop, skip, and actually I'm on, and then just charged his way towards the line. Just gave himself enough time with a bit of work in the air, ball in hand, and then with the Tongan side not getting off their line, they were never going to have enough to stop the big man.
Well, you're looking at this. Warriors development squads. Australian Rugby League. G'day, Craig Bellamy. I know you're watching, so keep an eye out for this bloke. Wayne Bennett likes Kiwi players too, I might add. Yeah, he is
good leg speed, good leg drive by Ben, and I think he's the pick of the bunch at the moment.
Great comment, JD. Yeah, he's been good. Plenty to like about him. Plenty to like about the overall Niue effort, not just here in the final, but also over the preceding couple of days. They've played with great pride, great mana.
You have to be a contender for the Merit team, boys.
Would have to be. You'll be announcing that too post-third game. And, of course, the trophies to be given out.
The following game.
The trophies prepared just for this tournament, or they have some history as well, JD?
They have a little bit of history, Dale. If you see them, there's 2 trophies together, and it was for the 2 divisions. You know, we're one family, but we're 2 divisions, and it's like on the concept of the Tuakana Taina kaupapa. And Val Maha down in Waitara, Te Atiawa carved them for us, and they come together as one. They come together as one for the 3 days, and wherever they may rest and go home with separated. You know, obviously at this stage, Niue at 28-16. One may go that way, and you know the next game. So there's a lot of history, and it's about the generation of life, the growth, and the development of our young rangatahi players.
What a neat idea. So the trophy actually splits in 2, Monty? Sort of pointing towards that unity that JD was speaking of. Take half away, and then when you come back to do battle again, you put them back together. So, lovely idea. Thanks, John. Thanks for letting us know of that. We'll be with you for the presentation. Here he is. Ben, you're not coming to our Tongan place for dinner, Penny. He's caused them no end of problems. And he's got them in great field position again. Hey, they're a proud people, this young Tongan development squad. Let's see what they can put together. And Penny is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at these Tongan attackers. on the 20-metre line for Tonga. Absolutely drained. They've put it all in here this afternoon in the final. Mosuati stepping and still right to the end, giving his all. And another high shot deemed here. But a few of them more lazy technique than sort of intent to injure, I'd suggest.
Yeah, don't forget how, you know, a lot of these players can step on a dime, and when you've got a bit of fatigue involved, and when you're trying to fight for your team to get the last result of in the last game of the tournament, Jesus, it's a lottery at times. Oh, that's a good shot.
You love that. Do you know?
Textbook tackle. That was beautiful.
That your voice takes on the growl like Joe Cocker when you see those sorts of tackles?
That's why we love the game, Dale.
Oh, look at that one. Come on, Tonga. Everyone wants you to get another try, boys.
Yeah.
It's been so good having two Tongan teams here. And like you say, let's pay tribute to the connections of the Tongan Rugby League fraternity that have put the opportunity through for some of these young men to shine, and almost crawling his way to the line, but showing the level of commitment that they have put out in the tournament. Kalon Mosati asked to back up here. 2.5 minutes to play. It's unlikely they'll be able to get the 12 points needed to force a draw. But hats off to these guys. Gee, they've had a whale of a time out there, and we have enjoyed seeing them as well.
Here we go. Here it is again. Boom. How can you not get excited about that, Dal? How can you not get excited about that shot? Brilliant one-on-one. Collisions at its best. Always get that amongst it with the Polynesian boys. Yeah, collisions have been great.
Like trains, like shunting trains. And yeah, I enjoyed it too. Deserved a growl. Niue playing for time. And there's another shot that also was a head jolter into the Tongan half of the field, and now through the hands. They don't have to prove anything. Shane Sewer-Bacon's had an outstanding tournament. Ben Penny has been exceptional. Versace Wider, who've been absolutely consistent with Cullen. And of course, the rest of the team have also performed as you would hope, as a unit, onto the boot of Akoto Fafita, where it's taken right at the back for Tonga. Into the last minute of play here. And this, the second of three finals on finals day at the Pasifika Youth Cup. This is the championship final, Tonga Development and Niue. The game has been a torrid affair right from the get-go. 5 tries to 3. Niue, they'll get the spoils here this afternoon. But to use a cliche, rugby league and youth sport, winners on the day as we celebrate Pasifika Tonga and see a glimpse into the future of our code in years to come. There's the straightening effort. The Huda not too far away, but both teams can go to the sheds today knowing they've played their all, they've given their all, and both have played with distinction on behalf of the countries that they are so proud of. And as rugby league supporters, we too are proud of them. Great show of Pasifika sport, and it will be Niue who will wrap it up, and just as you would hope, right to the very end, and Niue may well put the icing on the cake. And here's the run from Azalia Misenyu, and he scores in style. Well, that's what can happen. You think your race is run, but he thought he could run a bit more. Beautiful conclusion to Niue. They deserve the victory. And as I say, icing on the cake for the flying winger.
Once again, the mindset, the lens that the Polynesian man looks through rather than just the general player. You know, the bell's gone, normally just take the tackle or kick it out, run out even. But no, he decides that he's going to show a turn of pace and show that he's got the fine feet to dance across the sideline without going out. He just leaves so many people in his wake. As Arias Messiniu, JD, you know this kid?
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's reminiscent of the first game. 80th minute, the Hooters gone, and we go 90 metres to score a try, and you don't get it anywhere, and just so proud of that Pacific flair and that Polynesian flair, and let's hope in the third game can end in the same circumstances. But well done to Niue. I think the second half effort, and on the back of a solid first half effort, set themselves up for a deserved victory.
And there is the conversion attempt.
And well done, Tonga, sorry.
Well, that was an amazing game of football. It ballooned out at the back end, but it was tight, wasn't it? 16-10 at the half-time break, 3 tries to 1 in the second half. 2 of them to the hard-working Ben Penne. But a celebration of culture and, of course, of rugby league, as we see once again witnessing these wonderful images that bring together these guys, combatants, yes, for the last hour, but perhaps friends for life. Down to you, JD. You've got some thoughts to share with our viewers at home on Sky Sport. Getting another look at some of the action here. We'll cross over to JD in just a tick. I think Phil's with JD to have a little chat representing this wonderful clash we've just witnessed in the championship final. Over to you, John.
Yeah, he has joined me. I'm joined by Phil Tasmania from the Niue Rugby League. And hey, congratulations, first up, man. What does this win do for Niue Rugby League?
Oh, it's massive for us. We've initiated our junior program. We've brought through under 16s, 17s and 18s. It was a mixture here. But this is for all our community out there around New Zealand, Niue, in Australia, around the world, all the Niueans. We hardly make it on the big stage, and we hardly win. But all our boys worked hard, to all the families out there that supported us. Whakawealahi, mahaki. 2016 we started with nothing. Today we're at a stadium. We've got jerseys. My kids played in t-shirts for 2 years. So you always remember the hard times to get to this point. But these boys here, there's about 10 of them that started in 2016 with us and played in t-shirts. And for them to win out here today and to work hard to this campaign, it's been fantastic. I'd like to thank PAC, everyone that supported us to get to the stadium. Pasifika Rugby League at this age grade doesn't make it on TV. It doesn't get supported like this. So thank you, NZRL. All our supporters for Niue, Mangere Otahu local board, Angry Pack and Save, any little donation, it helped. We run everything on an oily rag, but we make sure we leave no debts. Hey, cuz?
Yeah, well done, Phil. I can't ask any more questions because you covered it all there, man, and you go and enjoy yourself. You deserve it. You've worked hard for PAC. You've worked hard. You're a proud Niuean, and I'm very pleased for you.
Some things are going to fall out of my eyes soon, bro, giving that speech, but to all my people out there, to our president back in Niue, this was for you.
Kia ora. That's Phil Tasmania, Dale.
Hey, man, touching stuff. Played in t-shirts. We appreciate any little donation, and we aim to leave no debts. I mean, that's grassroots stuff, and hey, they might be in 3-piece suits next because they played strong, and there'll be plenty of support coming in there from t-shirts to the victors here in the championship final of the Pasifika Youth Cup. It's a wonderful story, Monty.
Great story and a great man, Phil, and what you've been able to do in a short space of time for Niue Rugby League, and so many proud people behind you. Talking about the population of Niue, it's unheard of, but this is still many more chapters to come in this story, and already it's been nice to hear and look back on. So well done to all those involved and all the support behind them.
You might be wondering why these guys are walking across
the fact that there's backstories.
Yeah, absolutely.
The backstories and the stories that don't go untold, and you won't find it on the front page of the Herald or on Television 1 News at 6 o'clock. But these are real stories, and that's what I love about our game. That's what I love about our people, that we're real.
Very real. You see these guys walking across the field. There is 3 carloads of Tongan supporters who couldn't come into the stadium, but they've camped out there with their flags and with their sun umbrellas. These guys are heading to pay tribute to them. That's what it's all about. The beauty of Pasifika Rugby League on show for us here on Sky Sport. It's been a pleasure to bring the images to you. In fact, both of the teams are coming together. We might indulge ourselves a little and see their collective support for the fans outside. And if they could see you at home watching the game right now, they'd be doing the same for you. Beautiful footy. beautiful show of rangatahitanga, and it's been a privilege to be part of the broadcast team to put their game together. Look at this. What do you think of this, Monty?
Oh, it's wonderful, mate.
Yo, Tim.
So much heartfelt gestures from Phil on the sideline to these players who just spent the last 60 minutes and 3 days going at it against each other, coming together to show the support for Sea of Red. Although normally bigger in numbers and mass, that's even just that small presence just shows you how much they mean. We're the best rugby league supporters in the world, Mate Matonga.
Yeah, there's no doubt of that. That was a heck of a game. Hope you enjoyed that one. 32-16 winners, Niue, deserved victors. These guys come to support their young fellas, and that's what this tournament is all about. Thank you for joining us for coverage of Game 2. 1 to go. It's Tonga and New Zealand Māori. They'll be lining up, and kick-off time there is at 3 o'clock from me, Monty, and the broadcast team here. Happy to be hosting you on the home of New Zealand Rugby League. We'll be back for our next game in half an hour or so. Hope you can join us then. But from, or until then, from here at North Harbour Stadium and on the home of New Zealand League Sky Sport, we wish you well, and we'll catch you for game number 3, the big final, coming up in just over 30 minutes' time.